People paying money to see me in a 20 by 20 ring.
Hello, wrestling fans. Welcome to another episode of the 20 by 20 Ring Crew. I am Joe, and I'm here with Matt.
What's going on?
And we are here for episode 12, the Dirty Dozen, if you will.
And where's Donald Duck?
Donald Duck's down at the crossroads with a machine gun.
He'd better not be asleep, or we'll all be in trouble, huh?
And a happy belated Bullet Club Day to you.
Happy Bullet Club Day, sir.
Bullet Club.
Cody got chased out of here.
5 years. 5 years.
Can we throw it up one time? It's been 5 years. Let's do it.
The Bucks will go for it.
Well, they might get sued.
They got more money than God.
Hey, we're gonna fight sometime, and we're gonna get along. But damn it, we're family. Let's go.
Throw it up. Throw it up. Throw it up. Born 5 years ago right here in Fukuoka. And now it looks like the group is finally starting to come together once again.
5 years. 5 years in the business.
You know what? I can't believe it's been 5 years.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it.
It doesn't feel like it at all. Obviously, folks, we're here week after week putting the show out, and that's a small part of our lives. We're pretty busy dudes, but
Try to be.
yeah. But in the way of wrestling, you and I both watch a lot of wrestling as much as we can.
Yeah.
And when it comes to Bullet Club, for me, it's like a blur. It's here, it happens, it's gone so quickly, and yeah, so that's why I can't believe it's been 5 years.
What makes Bullet Club so good, and reason why it's such a blur, is that they're doing exactly what a good faction of this size does. It's, you have so many different angles, so many different storylines and rivalries and this and that going on, that even when they're not necessarily Bullet Club right this moment, there's always something going on in Bullet Club. Now, you can watch a Ring of Honor card, and you will easily see about at least 3 matches of Bullet Club. And in New Japan, that's a common thing, because factions kind of take over New Japan. But here in, like, American wrestling, it's kind of unheard of to that nature. So it's to have it to where it's, you know, you have Cody in a match, and you have Marty in a match, and you have the Bucks, maybe Hangman Page. If Kenny's out here, Kenny, you know, and all the other members, it's a whole lineup of different entities that at the end of the day, even though we're in the midst of a civil war, if you will, it's still Bullet Club. And I think that's where it kind of goes by so fast, because it's so smooth. It's not forced. You know, they don't force the Bullet Club name down your throat. It just so happens that they represent the faction, even when they're doing their own thing.
That seems to be pretty common in Japanese culture when it comes to clubs.
Yeah.
You do have clubs of all shapes and sizes, but it's never one of those. It's got to be an American thing, a Western thing, to have shit just shoved down your throat, like over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
To the point where it's sickening. What I find most interesting about this whole thing is you have a company like the WWE.
Yeah.
They have this booking style, and I wish I could say it's been different over the years, but somehow, to me, there's this universal aspect of it. Like, they always just seem. And again, it makes sense because they consider themselves sports entertainment, but there's this universal aspect of their booking style. They just keep shoving shit down your throat, whether you want it or not.
Yeah.
And most of the time it goes over with the fans, but there are those times, Roman Reigns, where it doesn't necessarily work out. What I find interesting about all this is you have people, you have fans, you have the boys here in the States who complain about the WWE or New Japan, who for whatever reason is considered their main adversary or trying to be their main adversary elsewhere in the world. They are using, their booking system is American based.
Yeah.
We've said it on the show before. Gato and Jado, both fans of Memphis wrestling, and so they a lot of that it comes through in their booking style. And here we have New Japan, as popular as ever, doing part 2 of the Bullet Club. They continue to use that same formula, month after month with their booking and their the way they organize their events and matches, and it's going over like wildfire.
I'm sitting right on ready right now. I got my tights on. You such a heck of a man. Bring your tail out and let's do it now.
You have the WWE minus NXT. I don't count NXT in all this because they actually seem like they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they're good.
But for the Raw and SmackDown brands, it's not what it probably should be. It's not as successful as it should be, or as interesting as it should be. I find it ironic. You have a Japanese company using American tactics, basically outgunning an American company at their own sport, so to speak.
I always find it odd that a lot of fans of both New Japan and WWE, they look at it as New Japan is my wrestling company and WWE is my entertainment company. That seems really ridiculous to me because New Japan is both. If you really watch New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I understand there's a language barrier that they still are trying to overcome, and they are to many degrees, but it still exists. I get that. If you really watch a New Japan show, they cut really good promos. And the thing is, how they do it is you get to watch all your wrestling uninterrupted, and then afterwards, you can watch all the promos afterwards. One fell swoop, and it patches all of the storylines together. So it's a little different. It's not this big soap opera, if you will, but at the same time, that still exists.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
How is it that you have people out there who admittedly half-ass watch Raw and or SmackDown,
yeah,
but sit there and will tell you that they cannot follow New Japan Pro Wrestling?
Yeah, I don't get that.
Because
of the language barrier.
Well, that seems to be like the most common reason. But
yeah, I think I know what you're asking.
But here's what I'm saying. Like, you have someone, and again, this isn't any one particular person, but you have a group of people that watch WWE, Raw, SmackDown, what have you. They'll watch it either with the sound off or as background noise, and they half-ass pay attention to it. I do that. I'm guilty of that.
Sure,
but
as am I.
You sit there and watch New Japan the same way, and then you have those people that bitch and moan about how they can't follow. I think it's horseshit because New Japan it's less boring. It's not, they actually tell good stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
And whether we're talking about the WWE or Impact or Shimmer or NJPW, what have you, any wrestling company, if they're wrestling and they're telling a story and everybody's doing their job, guess what? You don't need the fucking sound on. You don't need commentary. You'd be able to follow the match and be interested. And that's my point with New Japan out of these two companies. It's easy for me to sit there and literally half-ass Raw or SmackDown week after week because I know I'm not really missing much. You can't sit there and do that to New Japan because if you do, you are missing a bunch of shit.
Yeah. You know what, for me, this is me personally. Every time I watch a match, I'm a weirdo. I admit this. Every match that I watch, I predict who's going to win the match every single time, and then I pretty much tally up my scores at the end and see how I did. I couldn't tell you the last time I lost a WWE show. Usually I'm in the 90 to 85 percentile.
Jesus.
And that that's the wrestling nerd in me, but that's also the predictability. How predictable it is.
It's not hard to do.
No, because New Japan, I have my good days and my bad days. There's times where I get nothing right, and it's like, holy shit, they went that route. And, so not all of them are, just because I get it wrong doesn't mean I'm super shocked every single time. But my point is, you have a product that keeps you entertained in the sense that you don't know which route they're going to go next. They have one storyline going on in March, and then come April, those wrestlers are doing something completely different. Instead of having the same rivalry going on for about 3-4 months, and it never seems to pick up any steam. and then it's over, which is what I fear the AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura rivalry is going to have because of the company that they're in and the type of matches we've already seen 2 matches in. I look at this rivalry and I just say fast forward it. I don't think it's going to be good. I'm sorry, I just don't. And I don't get that with New Japan. I don't. Example that's going on right now. You still have, well, I guess it's going to take a back seat for at least for the next month. You have Tetsuya Naito, Minoru Suzuki. I don't know what they're saying.
Yeah.
I don't speak Japanese. I've picked up a little bit of lingo here and there just by watching so much, but I have no clue to what they're saying. I am so into what they're doing, though. And that's the point that we're trying to make. You don't have to understand it. I remember after Wrestle Kingdom, they had Fantastica Mania, which is what they do with CMLL, which is a company based out of Mexico. So you have Japanese and you have Spanish. I speak neither. I'm sorry to my Spanish roots, but I don't speak Spanish. Blame my mother on that one. But I still watched every single show. And that was just your basic house show type situation where it was the same guys on the tour. Same, it seemed like 20 guys, 25 guys. And almost the same type of matches every night. But they were just fun. They were fun to watch. Even if they were the same ones for 8 nights in a row, if you will, it was still more entertaining to me than anything that's happening on Monday and Tuesday nights on the USA Network. That's one guy's opinion. I admit that. But if you are using a language barrier as an excuse, I fully agree with what you're saying. That's bullshit.
Fucking bullshit.
It's definitely bullshit. But going back to the Bullet Club, which, again, celebrating 5 years as a faction, to the American standards, to the Western standards, if you will, that's a pretty big deal.
It is. Quite honestly, I couldn't give you a time frame for how long they're going to last. I'm not going to be the one to sit there and try to predict that.
Sure.
I would say I'm like 95% fan. I've really enjoyed a lot of what they've done. There's very little that I could care less about, but
right.
For those of you who view this faction as a NWO ripoff, I would say you're only half right. And I say that because, obviously you have the Two Sweets, you have the heel faction. There are some basic common aspects to each, but the work is much more.
Can't even compare it.
You can't. Obviously, 2 different styles of wrestling.
Right.
I think the age has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not going to sit here and say that someone like Scott Hall is or was incapable of doing some of these moves, but yeah, just a different generation of wrestler, a different breed of wrestler. That's not a bad thing. But you have all these workhorses in the business wrestling as part of a faction. It happens to be wildly successful right now.
Yeah, you know what? I think the biggest aspect of Bullet Club that stands out in comparison to the NWO is you have no egos. And I'm not talking about storylines here. I'm talking about just the guys who are putting in the work. There are no egos. There's no Hogans in here. There's no Kevin Nashes in here that's all about money, all about themselves. It's all about getting the product over, getting the name over. And it started from the beginning. It was all about getting that name over and to mean something. That's the only way it could mean something. If you had the same situation as you had with the NWO, what you would have had was maybe a really hot tag or a faction for maybe a year, 2 tops, and then you have the same situation. Eventually the egos explode. For lack of a better term, the mega powers will explode. That's what happened with the NWO, and that's what have happened with the Bullet Club. But you didn't have that. You still don't have that. What you have are guys that are willing to get each other over, whether it be via tag teams or what have you. It's working within whatever company they're in, whether it's New Japan Pro Wrestling, whether it's Ring of Honor, whether it's Rev Pro, whether it's anywhere in the world. CMLL was where they've been at as well. No matter where they're at and where they're at on the card, one of their guys comes out to represent the brand. Their job is to get that brand over as best as they can, and that's what they've done. That's where they differ from the NWO. And also another thing too is people who join the Bullet Club aren't just any run-of-the-mill guys. Certainly there's guys in here that you and I felt were run-of-the-mill guys. Chase Owens, for example, was, for me, he was it took me a long time to get Chase Owens over in my head.
Same here. I think he has really not stepped up until recently.
Yeah. His work is just crazy, man. He's so good at what he does.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he was ever a schlub. You know, it wasn't like he was completely fucking horrible. But at the same time, you have what set him apart from everybody else in a negative connotation was his work ethic was just his flow in the ring was just not up there like most of the other guys. But that didn't make him like any kind of a slacker or anything like that. He just he was mediocre compared to the best. That's one concept I will never understand about the NWO. You have egos like Hogan and Nash and whoever Bischoff, whoever you want to throw in the mix.
Right.
Depending on what hearsay you've heard over the years. But you have all these people, they see money in this concept of the NWO. What do? They run it into the ground.
Yeah.
And all they had to do was keep putting over the NWO, and they would have had money for years and years and years. I don't understand that. I will never, ever understand that. I've met some of these guys at conventions and things like that. That is one thing I always want to ask them, and I forget to ask. But it would be a really interesting.
I don't know if they would answer that.
Yeah, that's true too.
The fuck you mean ran into the ground? It wasn't my fault. It was their fault. It was always somebody else's fault. You know what? That's just what happens when you only look at dollar signs. Sometimes you get blinded by the short term, and that's what happened. It's. You take something and you run with it so hard. By the time you get to point B, you're already burnt out. There's nothing else to do, And there's so many other things too. Again, everybody joined the NWO. It lost its edge when every single person was joining the New World Order. It just Dusty Rhodes is now in the NWO. It's like, why? Why does he have to be in the NWO?
Fucking
Vincent. Why? What is he going to do for the NWO? I mean, that doesn't happen in the Bullet Club. Yes, you can argue Stephen Amell is technically a member of the Bullet Club. Yeah, well, he doesn't do anything. He's just a celebrity. He likes the Bullet Club. Get over it. But that's it. That's your only example, really. Everybody that has been part of the Bullet Club look at what they are in the business. Look at guys who are no longer in the Bullet Club. Look at a guy like Adam Cole. Where is he at? The WWE. Look at a guy like Carl Anderson. Where is he at? The WWE. Luke Gallows. WWE. How about one of the original members of Bullet Club, Prince Devitt? He's in the WWE. You may know him as Finn Balor. AJ Styles, WWE, even though it's a little different because he was already a big name when he joined. But, Adam Cole was kind of so-so. But all those guys, again, they rode that Bullet Club wave for a long time, especially a guy like Carl Anderson, who was a huge part of the Bullet Club. I always look at him as the guy that put that whole thing together, in my opinion. He was that glue for the longest time. And I don't think it bothers him, but he kind of gets overlooked a lot. But Carl Anderson was what the Bullet Club was all about for the longest time. He was never really the official leader, but yeah. Anyways, there's a lot of who's who that were in the Bullet Club, and there's a lot of who's who now that are in the Bullet Club now. And it's not just anybody's. We're gonna bring in anybody into the Bullet Club. Now he's throwing on the shirt. Now he's somebody. It doesn't work like that. That's what the NWO thought it was. Again, ego. You put a t-shirt on a guy and now he's legit. No, he's not. He's just wearing your t-shirt. I mean, I might as well be the next big thing then because I have a ton of Bullet Club shirts. Doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. I'm not a professional wrestler. So that's again, there's one of the major differences. It's the fact that it's not about big time matches where the Bullet Club it is. Bullet Club, you can have, again, you go look at Wrestle Kingdom this past January. Look at those matches that took place, those big time matches. Kenny versus Chris Jericho. Again, Bullet Club. Cody versus Kota Ibushi. Again, Bullet Club. There's so many other, and that's just to name a few. Bullet Club takes their name and they continue to put gourmet dishes on your plate instead of feeding you shit. And that's what WCW thought they were going to do with that NWO. And that's when greed and stupidity go hand in hand. That's what happens. Then you get the Wolfpack, which I liked the Wolfpack when I was of that age. You know, and still now in my 20s, late 20s, there's part of it that I still do like, but I see more of it for what it was. You know, it was a way to try to solidify an already weak faction. And then that failed, and then eventually you brought them back, and again, that failed because the magic was gone. The magic was definitely gone by then. That was all taking place within 2 years. Again, we're doubling that, over doubling that with Bullet Club now. 5 years. You and I don't know how long it's going to be, but for the foreseeable future, Bullet Club's still the most legit faction in professional wrestling, at least here in the Western Hemisphere. It's still the most over thing. We talked about New Japan Pro Wrestling and the language barriers. Let's face facts here. The Bullet Club is the major factor of branching the Japanese product to the American culture.
Very true. Absolutely. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And for those who think otherwise, I'm sorry, you're wrong. There's no gray area here.
No, there's not. I love Naito. I love Okada. I would be a fan, but I go out and I dig for wrestling. For those who are not, you might not know who Tetsuya Naito is. You may not know who Kazuchika Okada is, or Tanahashi, or any of these guys are, if the Bullet Club didn't take over the way that they have. So, Bullet Club being around for 5 years, were you a fan the entire 5 years, or when did it hit for you?
I was a fan. I want to say they were about 6 to 8 months into it.
Okay.
I at the time, you know, obviously they weren't, you know, the streaming service wasn't necessarily readily available.
Sure.
And, you know, I still had to dig around for stuff. At the time, although I always pay attention to wrestling, it's not like it was right now for me. Partly because of time.
Yeah.
You know, my schedule's all over the damn place, but I still tried to keep up and keep abreast of what was going on. I really liked the concept and the idea, and let's face it, the T-shirt was cool. You know,
yeah.
you gotta have all that stuff to get over these days anyway. Yeah, I would say 6 to 8 months into it is when I really started paying attention. I just thought I thought it was going to be something pretty huge, because if someone like me who was limited in New Japan content at the time, is hearing about someone like Prince Devitt and how he made such an impact, it must be something important. There's no way around it. And that's the way I looked at it. And I'm like, well, maybe I should pay a little more attention to this. No disrespect to any of the other New Japan roster pre-Bullet Club.
Right.
It's just, hey, your guys' shit was harder to find for me out here in the Midwest at the time.
Well, that's the point that I brought up before we started recording. As of this recording, there's a new member of Bullet Club, newest member, the Bone Soldier, who is Taiji Ishimori. And I looked at it as like, oh, I thought he was an Impact Wrestling / Pro Wrestling Noah, and I guess that's over with now. And I made the remark, like, good, I'm glad, because now I get to see him more. And I like Pro Wrestling Noah, but, like, the point that you were making, it's hard to get.
It's hard to get. It's hard to find their stuff, for, you know, and I love Pro Wrestling Noah.
Yeah.
I don't have a whole hell of a lot of time to dig like I would love to.
Right.
But if I had a streaming service available to me, I would be watching it just like I watch everything else.
Exactly. And again, as always, we watch wrestling while we do these shows. It brings up the point that you just made here. We were watching PCW Ultra, their March 2018 show called Tough Luck. If you don't know who PCW Ultra is, it's an indie-based promotion based in Southern California, Wilmington, California to be exact. All their shows are in the same venue as of right now. It seems they do a show every 2 months. They're going to do one in May. Actually, they're doing one the night of this recording. They don't have a streaming service, but many independent companies do. Instead of them having a streaming service, they're using Amazon Prime,
which is phenomenal. If you don't have a Amazon Prime subscription, I know the price of it just went up to $119 now.
I think so, yeah.
$119.99 or what have you. You know what? It's worth it.
It is.
You get so much more than wrestling. Obviously, we're pushing the wrestling because this is a wrestling podcast, folks. But if you don't have an Amazon Prime subscription, take the time. Go sign up over at our website so that we get a little love from Amazon. Helps us cut down the costs of production and whatnot. And guess what? For at least 30 days, you get to watch free PCW Ultra shows.
Yeah.
How fucking cool is that?
If you don't like it, there's no risk.
There's no risk.
No risk
You
at all.
cancel at any time. You can sign up and cancel right away.
And we still get the love.
We still get the love.
You still get the love. We still get the love. You get no risk. You get to watch wrestling.
Amongst other shit.
Yeah.
All kinds of movies, TV shows. I mean, if wrestling's not your thing, I'm sure you'll find something on Amazon Prime.
If wrestling's not your thing, you're listening to this podcast, man, thank you.
Yeah.
You must like my voice. I'm doing something right. Or is this guy over here? We're doing something right. But yeah, streaming services are huge. We live in the day and age of internet. I'm an IT major in college. I know all about the importance of networking. And when you could bring your product to the world by a click of a mouse, if you will. I know that sounds cliche. I mean, man, that's crazy.
Or a tap of a finger these days.
Yeah, tap a finger, whatever it is you're using. I mean, I couldn't even tell you how many different products I subscribe to. You know, Rev Pro, they're based out of England. Progress, they're based out of England. New Japan Pro Wrestling, they're based out of Japan. You know, it doesn't just stop there. You know, I do Ring of Honor, I do WWE Network, I do all of that stuff, as well as more. Chikara Pro Wrestling. They all have streaming services. By having that, when they do a show, they put their stuff there for you to watch, and guess what? I'm the big wrestling fan that I am. I'm going to pay money to go see you. And the thing is, being an IT guy, I know there's snobs out there saying, well, you could just stream it and not pay for it. I can, and I have, but I don't want to do that because I want to support professional wrestling. And by me giving them my, $7-8 a month, if you will, that's not burning a hole in my pocket. I get the wrestling still. I don't have to go digging for it, and they get a cut. And that's what's beautiful about these things. They're usually pretty cheap. You know, at Amazon Prime, you're not going to get Amazon Prime for PCW Ultra. I understand that, but that's just another benefit of it.
Exactly.
So,
you want to go sign up, you can do that at 20x20crew.com/podcast/Amazon. Go sign up. Again, 30 days, risk-free. Cancel after night one. Yeah. I really could give two shits. I mean, if it were me, I would do the whole 30. You get 2-day free shipping, 1-day free shipping in certain
markets. A lot
markets.
of places are doing 1-day shipping now.
Believe it or not.
Same day.
Same day.
Same day shipping.
Yup, that's crazy.
Yeah. So if you're I'm impatient like crazy. So I love that. I hope, I haven't really looked into it yet, but I really hope that they
I'm not an IT major. I'm not in college. I'm half bald and I've got 9 toes, but I still know it's a hell of a deal. And with that, we're getting back onto the subject of the Bullet Club.
Let's do it.
I gotta ask, what so far is your favorite Bullet Club moment?
Oh man, that's killing me right there. For me, it was, believe it or not, there's two. One because I was there, and the other one just because it just shocked me the way that they did it. The one I was there with, you were there too. We were there when Adam Cole joined the Bullet Club.
Yes, sir. That was great.
It was at the Frontier Fieldhouse in Chicago Ridge. I think you were on crutches still.
I was on crutches. I had just come off of the surgery, getting rid of my toe. I was on crutches for at least a month, I think. Maybe no, it was about 2 months.
Yeah,
it was about 2 months. I was still on crutches.
So we ended up standing up the entire night.
Yeah, we were by the concession
stand.
Which is in that venue. It's right next to the locker room. All the talent comes out.
Right, because I remember watching the most of that show with Silas Young. He didn't realize I was watching it with him. So the main event happened. Adam Cole, who was part of the Kingdom, or
yes,
give or take, whether he was going to be stale or not, was the question. The lights go off in the ring area. The lights by us are still on. And out comes Adam Cole. And I remember him looking our way. I don't know if he did it to anyone particular in our group, but he gave a wink, and then he just bolted to the ring.
Bolted to the ring.
He bolted to the ring. The lights go on, and Adam Cole's there. He wasn't on TV for a while. Boom! Adam Cole joins the Bullet Club. The Bucks super kick the Kingdom. It's this big ordeal, and the crowd's going fucking nuts. And I just remember looking at you and Mr. Wrestling 6 and our other friend who was with us. Just how cool was it that out of the fans in that building, we were the first one to know that.
We were the first ones to know.
So
that was great.
Whether you believe us or not, that's fine. But yeah, that happened. So that's why that's up there for me. The other one, I obviously wasn't there, but it was the night. It was New Year's Dash 2016. I want to say it was the night that AJ Styles got kicked out of the Bullet Club.
That's up there for me too.
How that happened just blew my mind.
Not only how it happened, but who was involved.
Yes.
Because for me at the time, like, again, I only knew a little bit about Kenny Omega.
Right.
And I knew it was a big deal for him to not only be a part of that faction, but to do that. For him to basically be the one to put his hands on AJ.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I must have watched that fucking clip over and over like dozens and dozens of times. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. I knew AJ was out the door. I knew that. The IWC ruined that for me. But the way that they wrote him out, I didn't see that coming.
No one did.
Yeah. And then when Kenny did that, when Kenny Omega hit him with the one-winged angel, I was just my mind was so blown, because here I am thinking, like, what is this guy doing? Like, what? And it's like, why? At the time too, it's like Kenny Omega is a really good wrestler, but wow, I didn't see him as the new leader of the Bullet Club.
Yeah.
That was crazy to me, and that's why it stood out to me, because that was the making of the Kenny Omega that you see today. That was so cool, and it was so cool that AJ did that too. I mean, that's one of those passing of the torches. I'm leaving. This on you now, and that was so cool. And that's why that stands up to me as one of my all-time favorites. I'm gonna ask you the same question, but I gotta ask this question first.
I am too sweet.
That I know.
My wife will tell you.
That I know. Not the other part though. As we see Swaggle coming out, he's got an 8-bit shirt now. Everyone's doing 8-bit shirts now.
They're in fashion. I
like them. I don't own any though. But Kenny Omega, you missed the heel version of Kenny Omega? Because I know I do.
I do. I really do. Don't get me wrong. He's a more than competent wrestler. He can.
Oh yeah.
He can work both babyface and heel. I prefer him heel. I think he just does it very, very well. You and I have got to see him a couple times now live. Both times it's been fucking great. It's been excellent. And sometimes he comes across as like so nonchalant and like he could give two shits. He's just that good of a heel.
Yeah.
And it gets over as such.
Yeah, I just miss, I guess I miss those storylines. I think a lot of it for me is I'm not a fan of this infighting. I think it's gone on too long. That's my personal opinion on it. But I'm not gonna go into that too much, because that's very much current.
If you don't have a New Japan subscription, again, it's only $8 or $9 a month. It's worth it. If you want to watch awesome fucking wrestling, go sign up. 20x20crew.com/podcast/NJPW. Do yourself a favor. I'm telling you, you won't be bored. You won't have to sit there and half-ass watch stuff. You'll be entertained. And the best part about it is they have older shows on there. What did you dig up for me earlier?
I found the New Japan Pro Wrestling WCW Super Shows from 91, 92, and 93. They're all
those shows are on that streaming service. Do yourself a favor. That's worth the fucking $8 or $9 a month right there.
I mean, Ric Flair versus Fujinami.
Holy shit!
Is on there. I know you got Sting versus Muta on there. I don't need to sell this. I mean, just do it. Listen to what the man says. I asked the same question to you. What's your top Bullet Club moments?
took mine.
I took yours?
You took yours, but I mean, I have others. But yeah, those are my top two favorites.
Top two.
It was awesome. It was such just a weird time in my life when the whole Adam Cole thing happened, because one, I didn't expect that to happen.
No.
2, I was coming off of major surgery. It was just nice to be back to a somewhat normal life.
Yeah.
Having to be around some of my best friends.
Yeah.
It was fucking phenomenal. Like, I got to be out and about. I was on crutches, but I got to be out and about, out of the house.
Oh, yeah.
Back to doing something relevant to me and what I consider to be normal, and it felt great. It was such a great fucking show. My only gripe about that show, not to get too off topic, was I missed an opportunity to meet Jushin Thunder Liger. But I'm going to make up for that pretty soon.
Oh, yeah.
As far as AJ getting kicked out of the Bullet Club, again, such a major thing. And the reason it went over like gangbusters was because you had someone of his caliber being kicked out by someone of Kenny Omega's caliber.
Right, exactly.
And I don't know, I'm sure there's people out there that would disagree with me, but at the time, Kenny Omega was not exactly the same caliber as AJ Styles at that point.
No.
And that's what made it such a huge fucking deal. Some of the other highlights for me that are my favorites, I gotta say, watching the Bucks over in Japan as opposed to anywhere else, on a regular basis, you get to see them just kind of go out there and do what they do. And I understand they can go do that in PWG or Ring of Honor, places like that, but it's something just a little bit different with that New Japan roster. We are going to be at a Ring of Honor show in a week's time where they're doing a main event against all the members of Los Ingobernables de Japón. And I can't fucking wait. I can't wait. I'm so fucking excited.
I just got like fucking chills when you said that. I did. No, seriously. That right there. LIJ and Bullet Club are two of my favorite factions currently, potentially of all time. To see those guys go at it, no storyline needed. They're not doing anything with those two factions and on New Japan right now. It's just go, just do it, just have this match. It's like this super match. And you made a really good point going back to the Adam Cole show that we were at. That's what's called now, the Adam Cole show.
It was a Ring of Honor War of the Worlds 2015.
Was it 15?
Yeah, 2015. Okay. May of 2015.
It's such a good point. See, I go to a lot of metal shows. Like metal shows, my wife calls them. They're an exorcism for me because all of my demons come out at a metal show, and I'm a brand new person. I need to go to those shows. You and I, we do this show because we love professional wrestling. We love being at these shows, not only because we get to see them live, but to be in that crowd, and especially, and again, I don't want to sound like some kind of egomaniac because my city's better than yours. Not what I'm trying to do here, but but that Chicago crowd, that energy that exists for just about everything there. We're such a passionate group. Man, like, you're not the only one that felt it that night. It was like, wow, I needed this.
Yes,
I needed
definitely.
this, so it was one of those things where it doesn't matter what's going on in your life at that point. To be there live, man, it's just something you remember forever. So yeah, I mean, anytime we go to a show, if you guys ever see us at a show, we are definitely exercising our demons that night and just getting them out, because it doesn't matter anymore. It's pro wrestling at its finest, and man, I wholeheartedly agree, and that's why the Adam Cole moment is up there for me, because not only was it a big moment for Bullet Club, but for me personally to be a part of that. Again, the wink from Adam Cole, the fact that we saw it first, whether anyone wants to admit it or not, we saw it first live.
Yeah, that was cool. It was so fucking cool.
That's something that I'll remember for the rest of my life. And so Adam Cole, if you're out there, you have a huge impact on me, baby.
And on that note, we're going to go pay some bills. Just stay tuned. We'll be right back. This episode of the 20x20 crew is sponsored by Amazon Prime. Sign up for a free 30-day trial, and you get instant access to thousands of movies and television episodes. You get to borrow Kindle ebooks. You also get unlimited free 2-day shipping with no minimum order size. You don't have to purchase. You can cancel anytime and still show the 20x20 crew some love. You can sign up for Amazon Prime through the 20x20 crew by visiting our website at 20x20crew.com/podcast/Amazon. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all the support. And now let's get back to the show.
And we're back. Thanks for hanging around and listening to this episode. Thank you for all the support, as always.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
And as we were paying these bills, you mentioned something to me about, and I really don't want to go back to this most mediocre Rumble ever events, or was that what it was called? I can't remember now.
But John Cena and Triple H, they opened the show.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such an honor and all that fucking bullshit.
And they wrestled the longest match of the night, as we talked about in episode 11.
Horseshit.
So you mentioned something really intriguing to me, though, regarding the main topic that we were talking about in episode 11 was the women roster and what message this sends to the women roster. And you had told me that you had read or heard that the WWE paid their female roster as if they were competing.
For those who can't see me, I was rattling my head up and down as to say yes. Sorry about that. Yes, I did read that. It has been confirmed. I think that's the least they could have done for those ladies. I don't know how the roster themselves feel. There was a few that posted in social media that they were like just hanging out, like training and doing things like that, or just relaxing. But that really doesn't say much. Again, you in situations like this, more often than not, the talent isn't going to speak up. Because
why would they hurt themselves?
Yeah, it might hurt them in the company, and plus now it's been confirmed they got paid for doing nothing.
That's not a bad gig, I guess.
It's not, but you know what? It's got to be some sort of a slap in the face. Not that I am female, but had I been, or what have you, and I was put in that position, I would be pissed. Even if you paid me, I'd still be pissed. That's some fucking bullshit.
Well, it looks like they were paid to just shut up and look the other way.
Yeah. And you know what? There's you can look it up online elsewhere in the dirt sheets and whatnot. But Triple H did come out and he gave a statement, but the statement was like so fucking super weak, and it was like, really, like, come on, you were better off just not saying anything at all about the situation. But he opened his mouth and just kind of put his foot in it. So.
Yeah, it just sent the wrong message, I think, and you paid them, fine. I mean, you made a shit ton of money apparently off this, and good for you, and you share the wealth. I know certain people. I know Peyton Royce, she was eating junk food watching the Greatest Royal Rumble via her Instagram, so that's what she was showcasing. So
there you go.
She wasn't even training. I mean, I'm not saying she should never eat junk food. I mean, I don't care what you eat, but the point is, you had wasted talent, and you want to pay them. That's fine, but you're all about exploiting your talent, and you had a golden opportunity to do that,
and you didn't do it.
You didn't do it.
How fucking uncharacteristic for that company, right? Good God.
So yeah, and it's not like the show was even a big deal. I mean, it's already forgotten. We're already sweeping under the rug. Okay, Backlash is next, coming up, and the biggest thing to take place at the Rumble, the Greatest Royal Rumble, is not even anything that's good. It's more of a dubious honor, and you know what I'm talking about. We're talking about Titus O'Neil and his where did he go moment where he bolts down the ring and trips and falls and slides underneath the ring.
That's exactly what he did. It was like a slip and slide, fucking all the way into the ring. That was fucking great. And since then, he's tried to play it off like he meant to do it.
There's T-shirts now. The WWE is. They can't exploit their women, but they exploit Titus O'Neil. Makes sense of that one.
Oh boy, I couldn't stop laughing. I think what made it even funnier for me was that the actual announce team kept cutting back and showing the replay of it as the pay-per-view was going on. That was fucking funnier than shit. It was nice to see them to be able to do something like that and not come across as so rigid. But yeah, that was the highlight of that.
That was the highlight of the night. Going back to, again, the Saudi Arabia crowd, I know that there was controversy amongst the live crowd too, given the Backlash pay-per-view little segment video that they created where they're in a sound booth studio and everyone's singing a song, and Carmella is in her regular wrestling attire and she's dancing around and just whatever you want, a singlet, if you will, and that crowd went nuts for all the wrong reasons. Something like this is, and again, a lot of the higher ups, if you will, from in Saudi Arabia, have come out and said how they're against this, that they want to stand for this and all this. Again, the money, I'm sure, is great. I get that. But this cultural difference that you have, this cultural divide, it's like they didn't think it through.
No.
And obviously they didn't if they're going to air that thing. You know? So it's just like, pay attention to what you're doing.
Yeah, you make a very valid point. If you're going to do it right. They've signed a 10-year deal with these people in Saudi Arabia, and they are going to do more shows there.
Mm-hmm.
This was the first of many, apparently, but that's no excuse. You should have done your fucking homework and tried not to offend these fucking people.
Well, you're not bringing your women roster, so therefore, women are not really, I don't want to say well received there, but they're not well received there as far as our standards are. So if you're going to air this video package, somebody not light bulb didn't go through like, hey, maybe we should edit this part.
Yeah, all of the women that were in attendance actually, it was okay for them to be there, but they had to be accompanied by a male.
Yeah.
Which, again, fucking bullshit. But that's their belief. That's the way they do things in Saudi Arabia.
Again, it's not our opinions that we're trying to persuade on you. It's the common sense of the message that it sends your female roster. We'd rather pay you to do nothing than pay you to actually do what you've worked your asses off for. Again, the money, I'm sure, is great. I like to get paid for nothing. You know, I mean, many of us have, paid time off, vacation time. It's nice to sit on your ass and get paid for it. I admit that. But at the same time, you're not getting paid because you're taking a vacation. You're getting paid because you're not wanted where they're at. There's a major difference between the two. You know, if money is all you care about, then obviously you're working for the right company. And it's a shame because you put in so much work, and then for them to say, well, you're just not good enough for this audience because you're not a man. It's
fucking wow.
Yeah. It's like, what do you say to that? Thanks for the dough, I guess. I don't know. But it's little simple things too. Like we can't even do a video package. We have to change our whole video package because we have Carmella dancing in a singlet. She's covered. She's covered in what here in the United States and in the Western Hemisphere would perceive as, yeah, she's covered in all the right places. She's not exposed. This is still PG. You can call it a little raunchy, whatever, fine. I don't know. But she's covered. To them, that's an atrocity, what they saw. And it's that type of cultural gap that is always going to be a problem. But it's funny that we say that because I've already had WWE fans defend that. But it's just a cultural gap. It's just a cultural gap. Okay, but you're the same fans that say we can't watch New Japan because there's a language gap. You see where you see where my issue is here. You see, in New Japan, women can still show up there. They can still compete. They have competed many times. They still do. And they get to wear what they want to wear. It's just they speak a different language. I mean, do you not hear how stupid you sound when you say stuff like that?
Speaking of sounding stupid, obviously we're having co-branded events going to happen here soon with the WWE.
Yep.
This is going to spark another new situation for the company with trying to cram in maybe all these titles to be defended possibly at pay-per-views. We're looking at what, 9 titles?
Yeah, nine titles.
So you've got 9 titles within the company. Obviously 2 sets of tag team champions, 2 women's champions, the WWE title,
yeah,
the cruiserweight title, all these damn titles. Obviously, I'm not looking for all these championships to be defended all in one event. I think that's what something like Night of Champions is for.
Right.
But you still have to keep these titles relevant. How do you feel about this? Do you have an opinion? Do you have, what do you think is going to happen? Are we going to see some of these titles possibly be reunified?
What I see happening is that the brand extension's on its last leg already. This is the worst thing that could have happened to the brand extension, and I love the fact that there was a pay-per-view for each show, and I don't understand how people can say there's too many shows in a month. There's too many pay-per-views in a month. That's again stupid. You know how stupid you sound when you say that. And this is heel Matt coming out. I know. But you sound like a complete moron when you say that, because that's not a thing. What you should be saying is that there's too many lame pay-per-views coming out in a month, because that's what they were. If you're going to have Raw's own entity and you have SmackDown's own entity, you can't combine the two every single month. It's not going to work. You have too big of a roster. You have too big of or too many rivalries happening, and now what you're going to do is you're going to have every championship defended almost every single month. Obviously, it's not going to happen so long as Brock Lesnar is the Universal Champion. But
that's why I didn't even mention that fucking belt.
Right, but you look at the Backlash card. You have the Intercontinental United States, both women's championships, and the WWE Championship. You don't have any of the tag team titles, and you don't have the Cruiserweight title as of yet. Now, as of this show, the Backlash pay-per-view is happening actually 2 days from this recording. So it's by the time this episode, you guys hear this episode, the show would already happen. But I'm going based off what's right now. That's a lot of title matches. But then you have your non-title matches. Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe is probably the highlight one of that. Then you got Daniel Bryan, Big Cass, and then the tag team match with Strowman, Lashley versus Owens and Zayn. And the thing is this. What you're going to have by doing this is title match, that's probably not going to mean anything. They're probably going to be repeats from last month. And then maybe 1 or 2 grudge matches. Well, your big-time events should be spent with grudge matches as at the forefront. Okay, so if you're not going to do that, then you need to do that on Raw or SmackDown. We both know they're not going to do that on Raw or SmackDown. It's going to be building up more Braun Strowman's ego and Roman Reigns trying to get him forced, to be over when nobody wants him to be, and this and that. It's the same old bullshit. Now, with less meaning to the actual brand extension, and what you're going to start seeing is the same thing you started seeing back in the early 2010s of this decade, where it was. You got Raw Super Shows where the SmackDown guys are invading Raw, and then eventually the Super Show gets dropped and the brand extension ends. The brand extension, I give it less than a year.
That's pretty plausible.
And that sucks.
It does suck. It really does suck. I don't know what it is about this company and momentum. It's like they're their own worst enemy.
Yeah.
you get all this momentum, and then it's like, oh, it's time to do something stupid and different.
Yeah,
How does that work?
I don't get it. I look, you could argue it costs money to do these events. Okay, it costs money to get the camera crews out there and this and that. I get that, but you're also WWE. I keep hearing from you WWE fans, WWE's got all the money. All right, then why can't they spend some? What's so wrong with having 2 events in a month? Nobody says you gotta watch it live. Well, my Sundays are busy. Watch it whenever the hell you want to watch it. That's the beauty of the WWE Network. It's $10 measly a month, and you can watch it whenever you want.
You can half-ass watch it if you want to.
You can half-ass watch it. You can have it on your laptop while you're watching PCW Ultra on the TV and actually be entertained. The point I'm trying to make is it's not the quantity, it's the quality, and that's cliche, but it's also the truth. It's the quality of your events. New Japan can put on tours where they'll do 5-6 shows in a week, and they'll all be phenomenal shows. That's a lot of shows to watch. But I'm going to watch every single one of them. Why? Because I'm a New Japan snob? No, because they're entertaining. That's the reason why. Maybe you should stop defending them or stop defending WWE, and step back and realize how come you're not helping the product grow the way that you claim you are. Maybe you should start taking a step back and looking at yourself as a WWE fan, because obviously you're part of the problem if they can't afford to do 2 shows in a month, because it's just there's too many shows. There's not too many shows. There's too many bad shows. There's a difference there. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
A heel match got to cool off a little bit, but when it got announced that they're doing the joint shows all in once or every single month, my first reaction was, this is the end of the brand extension. It's going to be way too many of the same regurgitated matches, because this Backlash card was going to be very close. I guarantee you, very close to whatever June show. Oh, it's Money in the Bank. So it'll be a little different because there's going to be ladder matches involved, but it's going to be the same shit. It's going to be the same shit. And it's not like they did anything different besides reduce the number of bullshit shows. Just get better. That's what it comes down to, is just get better. If your shows are that bad and you're not selling out, well, then find a way to start selling out.
The gap is closing. The gap is closing, and their shows they're staying the same. They're not necessarily getting any better. And you have places like Ring of Honor and Impact and House of Hardcore and New Japan. They're all getting better. Sooner or later, that audience is going to go elsewhere, whether you like it or not.
It's happened before.
So
look, I've said this to so many WWE fans, and I know some of those people are supposedly listening to the show now. And I thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you.
And hopefully I teach you something. I'm not saying WWE is going to fold anytime soon.
Nor do we want that.
Nor do I want that, exactly. But, and I understand it's for different reasons, but in our lifetime, we've seen a giant go down. You're dealing with somebody in Ted Turner, who, again, I know he isn't Vince McMahon. I know he wasn't all about the wrestling product the way that Vince McMahon at least was at some point. But he's also richer, at least at that point, than Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he still is. I don't know. But he was richer, one of the richest men in the world, and he's funding your product, and you couldn't make it work. Giants fall. And and don't forget, they were kicking WWE's ass for almost 2 straight years as far as the Monday Night Wars go. Giants eventually fall. If you become too careless. If you start thinking that the little guys can't beat you, then that's exactly what's going to happen. The little guys will eventually beat you.
Never underestimate your opponent.
Never.
Never.
And, you know, when we say little guys, Ring of Honor, there are no little guys.
Biggest indie promotion in the United States. More than likely the number 2, number 3 company in the United States.
Easily. New Japan Pro Wrestling, they're sure as hell ain't little guys.
Yeah. They've been around since what? Early 70s?
Yeah.
72 maybe?
72 sounds about right.
So
they got help me out here, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks.
Mark Cuban.
Mark Cuban is doing business with them too, who's also a billionaire. So they got money here too.
They got money here too.
You know, Impact Wrestling is finally a respectable company again.
Yeah.
And there's money backing them too as well. Those investors are definitely got some deep pockets to go hand in hand with now good booking. So, and you can't count out, you know, the little guys like House of Hardcore. Again, you got a guy like Tommy Dreamer who he's got a lot of people in the wrestling industry that's backing that little engine that could. You have AAA Wrestling that is starting to make its way up north, if you will, because they're based out of Mexico. They're starting to Americanize their product more. They want it to be more recognized by the American audience, and they're doing that via Twitch. And I guarantee you, it's only a matter of time before you start seeing them on a television, and English television, in the very near future. You can already argue saying that you already are with Lucha Underground, because that's pretty much AAA Wrestling.
Yeah.
So, again, there's so many different ways to watch professional wrestling through streaming services, through Amazon Prime. But, you know, with all these shows, you can say, well, that's just too much wrestling to watch. Well, then you're probably not a wrestling fan, and that's okay. But for me, it's not. It's overwhelming. There's no doubt about that. There's no way I could watch them all, at least, you know, as they're happening. But I go back and I watch them. Like, we're watching a show from March. This is my first time seeing this show. And as we see, Kevin Sullivan can't hit a guy with a kendo stick right anymore.
Well.
But the point I'm trying to make is there's so much wrestling. It's very overwhelming, but I'm not complaining. You see what I'm saying here? I'm not complaining the way that if the WWE pay-per-views were remotely as good as these indie shows are, I wouldn't be complaining. I wasn't complaining to begin with, but I certainly wouldn't be complaining at all, because if you're giving me quality product, it's like watching one of your favorite TV shows. If you can continue to give me a good story, a good product, I don't want you to go away for the season.
Right.
You know, all year round, if that's the case, as long as you give me good product. When he starts getting watered down and shitty, yeah, take a break. So that's the wrestling industry, people. From a fan's point of view, I guess.
So the lesson this week is stop giving us shitty wrestling.
Yeah. Go. You know, we talked about, we started the show with Bullet Club and just their impact in professional wrestling and how great that is, and then we have to end it with such a sour note.
Well, we're I mean, I don't want to keep rehashing stuff, but here we are 5 years later. Bullet Club's still relevant, still making tons of money, still very fucking interesting. Whether you are a fan of Cody or not, he is doing his heel job.
Yeah.
Whether you're a fan of Kenny Omega or not, he is doing his babyface job.
Right.
They're doing what they're supposed to do. It's fun. It's interesting for the most part. That's what we want. That's what we want to see in every product. So there seems to be like this learning curve that the WWE has to seemingly go through these days. They've got to. It's almost like they have to rediscover their audience.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a fucking shame if you're the biggest entity out there in the entire world for something like this. But hey, if it has to happen, it better happen soon. Otherwise, they will have a rude awakening.
Well,
No pun intended.
Yeah.
when their opponents like Ring of Honor or New Japan finally broaden their horizons
Yeah.
and start taking a lot of that audience away.
Let me ask you this. I mean, let's try to dig out a crystal ball real quick here. And if WWE doesn't change their way of doing things, obviously I'm not asking like if they're going to go under, but how fast could it be to where we start seeing legit, and I'm using quotation marks, but legit competition in the face of the WWE universe? When do they start? When are those fans, the fans that are stuck in that universe, if you will, when do they start saying, "Hey, let's migrate over here now"? Because wrestling fans are already doing that, but it's those other ones, all the other ones that are pouring money into this company, buying all the shitty merchandise and stuff, that are still blinded by everything else. When you mention Japan, they roll their eyes like, of course it's better because it's in the Tokyo Dome. It's better because it's better. It's not because it's in the Tokyo Dome. It doesn't matter if it was in your backyard. It's better. It's better wrestling. But the point I'm trying to make is, like, when you start seeing those fans starting to say, you know what, maybe they're right. Maybe there is maybe the grass is greener on the other side for once.
My personal opinion, I'd say in the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to see a lot of turnover.
Yeah.
And the only reason I say that is because you now have Ring of Honor, who offers, obviously they're a big company and they're still growing.
Right.
But they're still doing business with other companies, other independent companies, or
Yes.
other companies that have access to independent talent. They have their own streaming service now. They're making their product much more accessible to the public, and you can stunt that kind of growth, but you can't stop that kind of growth.
Right.
Same thing with New Japan. I think for them to get over more here in the States, it's just a matter of doing shows elsewhere in the United States besides California.
Yeah.
And they are working on that. And I can't wait. I can't fucking wait till they come to Chicago.
Oh, man.
Because they will be well received.
Yeah.
I can't wait till they make it other places. New York, Philly. I think they would kill in Philly.
I would love to see that New York, that New York audience, just because even though the territory days are over, that's still very much WWE territory.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I would love to see that for sure.
Again, you have Impact, who has finally got their shit together. They have their financial backing. They have excellent management crew now in Scott D'Amore and Don Callis. That's just a matter of time before that audience grows. We were looking at the numbers for the week their episode aired for during the NFL draft that same week, and they lost about 60,000 followers. Or 60,000 viewers, but they still were happy with those numbers because they didn't dip very much, and had the NFL draft not been on, they still would have they projected to have the same audience they had in the weeks leading up to their pay-per-view. And that's really good news for that company.
Yeah.
They're seemingly growing at a very steady pace, and in the next 3 to 5 years, if they keep that management and that financial situation intact, they are going to be another contender in this race for viewership. You have developing platforms like Twitch, who seemed every time you turn around, they've got more wrestling on. And
don't sleep on Twitch. That's for sure.
Don't sleep on Twitch. House of Hardcore's on there. You've
AAA
You've got
Wrestling.
AAA on there.
Every show that they do.
Every show.
Every show.
There's no excuse for you to not go, and it's free.
And it's free.
For those of you who don't want to pay fucking money every month, those are 2 awesome fucking promotions that you could be watching for free every week. Every week. So there's no excuse. But again, 3 to 5 years, what is Twitch going to look like? How many more?
Oh yeah.
How many more wrestling organizations are we going to be able to see? How big is House of Hardcore going to be? Because it's Twitch is so accessible. Those are questions that I'm looking at and all this potential growth. When it comes to the WWE in the next 3 to 5 years, immediately you got to think about loss of talent, more so than all those other companies I just mentioned, because you do have a very grinding schedule. There's a lot of guys who go unhappy very quickly these days.
Yes.
And the way the business is booming, as long as that growth is still there and that potential for growth is still there, they're more inclined to leave there and go make as much money, or if not more money, working the indies.
Right.
So, again, you have that possibility of a giant swing of talent out of the company.
You got to remember, again, we talked a little bit about the brand extension here. For anyone that doesn't understand my issue with the brand extension ending, if you are a WWE Universe only fan, the brand extension ending is a huge, huge loss for your viewership, and that's a guarantee. That's a promise. If they lose the brand extension, when you start having this huge roster of guys and girls on one show, 1.5 shows, if you Raw and SmackDown, you're gonna have so many people that are gonna be put to the side, like legit talent put to the side, and it's not gonna go over well.
No, it's not. People are gonna want to leave, or they'll get frustrated and affect the product in a negative manner. You'll see it in the ring when they finally do get a shot to wrestle on television or wrestle on a card, pay-per-view, whatever. It's gonna come across even shittier.
This is the price that you pay when you start just buying talent left and right. I've mentioned this on the show so many times. There has to be an end game. If your end game is to just say, well, we have him, now we can sell his or her shirt, that's it. Like that's all you care about. Then, once you start getting to the nitty gritty of booking matches and booking shows, well, now you have a problem, because now you have too many people. You have too many things that are going on, and so many people are getting paid to just sit in the back. And you want to talk about saving money? Well, now you're paying guys to just sit and pick their nose. It's just that's the reality of things. That's the reality of the situation that they potentially put themselves in. They kind of seem to always figure it out, and in the end, I get that, but they're human, and eventually they're gonna get caught. They're gonna get caught, trying to cut corners. How they've been doing business for so long, as far as the on-screen shit goes, and you're right. Again, we talked about the amount of ways to watch wrestling now, stuff that you've never even heard of. You have something like Powerbomb TV. I love Powerbomb TV.
Shouts out to Beyond Wrestling.
Absolutely. Stuff that you've never heard of before. Stuff that was only exclusive to your neck of the woods. I can now watch. That's the beauty of it. You have small-time independent wrestling being showcased on this platform now. And, what's not to love about that? So, those are more the lighter side of things, and when it comes to surging in the professional wrestling world. But again, it's still those things that we talked about. The WWE Network is not the only thing that exists anymore. It's everybody seems to have a way to stream now, and it's only helping put their product over that much more, because now it's affordable. I could watch pay-per-views for practically nothing, or pay a low monthly price, and I get everything. So it's all these, everything what WWE did, everybody else is doing. Now the difference is, it's the quality of the shows that exist, to where even if like a PCW Ultra, where it's one show every 2 months, they still, for the most part, are more entertaining in that one show than the 2 months total time of WWE. And that's the honest to God truth. That's my opinion.
That's saying a lot. That's saying a lot. But I feel the same way. I feel
Because I'm not half-ass watching this.
no, not at all.
And that's the difference. I don't want to do the dishes and watch wrestling. I want to sit down and watch wrestling. I want to sit down like I did back in the Attitude Era or the other glory days of WWE, where I was so into it that I didn't care what else was going on. Now I don't care what's going on the screen. And that's just not fun for me anymore.
I laugh when my daughter and I watch wrestling. We will watch a WWE event, and we usually, lately it's been in the kitchen, and we'll be doing other stuff as we watch it. Whether we're, board gaming or doing chores, whatever. It's on. And then we watch stuff like New Japan, and it is like, sit down, we got popcorn, snacks, whatever, and it's like we're at the movie theater.
Yeah.
And we're totally enthused. It's awesome.
That's what wrestling's supposed to be, man.
And she's only 14. She understands, like, there's something lacking. You know? And she doesn't watch as much wrestling as you or I do.
Right.
But when she does, she has that common sense. She can immediately tell the difference between the products.
I've sat next to her at wrestling shows that we've gone to, and the excitement that kid portrays for pretty much everything that's seen. I just look over you as like, man, this is fucking cool. To be able to pass this on to, the younger generations. Like, I applaud you for raising her right in that sense too, because she could sense bullshit when she sees it.
Very true.
That's a good thing.
Very true.
Life lessons we learn in professional wrestling.
And on that note, we're going to end this week's episode and come back at you next week with something new and something fresh. Again, we have PCW Ultra March 2018 happening on in the background. Rob Van Dam's in the ring. Miss that guy.
I do too.
Against Penta Zero M, yes?
Yeah.
So we're gonna sit and enjoy this match. We hope you're enjoying wrestling somewhere, doing something.
Please
Again,
support professional wrestling.
Support #support the heels, #support the baby faces. Support your 20x20 ring crew. You can do that at 20x20crew.com. That's our home base. You can catch us on Facebook, facebook.com/20x20crew. We have our own Facebook group where you can sit and actually talk to us and discuss wrestling. Actual good wrestling. Hey, you know what? Come find us on Facebook. Let us know you want in the group. We'll add you. I will even entertain the thought of you half-ass watching WWE. So you could do that. Facebook.com. Search for 20x20 Wrestling Talk. For those of you on Twitter, you can hate tweet me at 20x20crew. I'm always looking for some shit like that. That's pretty entertaining to me. And then for all you Instagrammers out there, we are on Instagram, instagram.com/20x20crew. So again, we're wrapping up this week.
We need Facebook or YouTube likes too.
Oh my God!
Subscriptions.
Please
subscribe.
We are on YouTube. Please subscribe. We need more YouTube subscribers. We upload every episode onto YouTube, including our bonus episodes, which we did WrestleMania 14 so far. We have more bonus stuff coming your way, but hey, it's all there. It's all ready for you to peruse on YouTube. We even have YouTube playlists of related videos for you to watch. So check out our timestamps on the website, and you'll get some knowledge and some brain growth from all that information, and you get to enjoy it with wrestling. So again, we're wrapping up, saying goodbye this week. For Matt, I am Joe. We are the 20x20 Ring Crew, and we will see you in the ring.
What a nice little surprise, huh?
Who would have known?
How cool.
Who would have known? I was not expecting
to pick up a bit of gold here. This is great. I was expecting 24 hours to travel. Yes. Come here. We got that. Be jet lagged. Right. Be miserable. Be disrespected. But no, none of that happened.
I feel great.
I didn't even know these things were on the line.
Yeah, what a happy surprise. That's what I said when I got my wife pregnant for the first time.
When we found out these were on the line, out there on the fly, we said, let's win this match. Oh, let's not just win the match. Yeah. Let's go out there and take these babies home. Hell yeah.
And credit to those guys, you know. Good guys, huh?
Good. I mean, the thing is this whole Bullet Club riff was never about us, it was never about them. This is Kenny and Cody. Yes. They got massive egos. Right. You know, they're like this. Hey, I'm sick of it. And at the end of the day, those guys gave us these championship belts in respect. In respect after a hard-fought victory. You know what? Credit to them.
They didn't have to do that.
I can't think of a better way to celebrate 5 years than the supervillains becoming 6-man tag team champions.
You know what that means, right, Marty?
What does that mean?
Let's go take a photo. Let's go get it printed, and we'll have new 8x10s on $9
How much do we sell them for? Better yet,
like
let's put up a photo and put it on Instagram, boys. Thank you and good night.
How
Bye-bye.
many likes will that get?
At least 4,000.
Instagram's more popular than Twitter.
Instagram's at least 22. 22. Okay. 22,000. We're aiming for 22,000, and if we don't get 22,000 likes, then we're not putting these on the line.
Most of mine get around the 10 or 12 range, but we'll try
go for 22. I don't even like Instagram.
Oh, couldn't have lost to a better team. Okay, 5 years, 5 years. Right here, Dontaku, May 3rd.
What better?
5 years.
What better team to go against than our own brothers on our 5-year anniversary? All love, baby. All love, you see?
All love.
These right here.
Nobody lost today. Bullet Club won today.
Bullet Club won. On their anniversary.
Shout out to Gallows, Anderson, Finn Balor, AJ Styles. We'll miss you guys.